The Hall of Stars was silent. It was the largest peace chamber in the known galaxy, built from white crystal and glowing metal. Hundreds of alien delegates sat in perfect rows, their strange eyes fixed on one small figure standing alone at the center. That figure was human. His name was Elias Carter, the official diplomat of Earth. He wore a simple dark suit, no armor, no weapon. Only a small silver pin on his chest, the symbol of humanity. Compared to the towering alien forms around him, Elias looked fragile, weak, almost out of place. That was exactly what the Galactic Empire believed humans were. For 3,000 years, humanity had avoided war. They had refused to expand aggressively. They had spoken of peace, balance, and cooperation. Many races saw them as soft, emotional, easy to control. Elias took a slow breath and began to speak. On behalf of Earth, he said calmly, his voice steady, "We come not as conquerors, but as equals. We seek peace, not power." Some delegates listened. Many did not. High above, on a raised throne of black metal, the Imperial Chancellor watched him with cold amusement. To the Empire, this meeting was not about peace. It was about reminding humanity of its place. Elias finished his speech and stepped back. For a moment. There was hope. Then everything changed. Imperial guards moved. They were fast, armored, and merciless. Before anyone could react, they surrounded Elias, energy weapons aimed at his chest. The chamber erupted into noise, confusion, shock, whispers in 100 alien tongues. Elias did not resist. On what charge? He asked. The Chancellor stood. Crimes against galactic order, the alien declared. Unauthorized human expansion, cultural contamination, and arrogance. Elias frowned. Those charges are false. Earth has followed every. Silence. The Chancellor snapped. The guard seized him. There was no trial. No discussion. No chance to speak. That the Empire had already decided. The Chancellor raised one clawed hand. "Let this serve as a lesson," he announced to the galaxy. "Peace does not excuse weakness." An execution platform rose from the floor. Elias was forced onto it. Still, he did not beg. He looked around the hall, at the faces of those who claimed to rule the stars. His eyes held no fear, only sadness. "You are making a mistake," he said quietly. The Chancellor laughed. What could one human possibly do? Elias lifted his head. "Nothing," he replied. "But humanity will remember." A beam of white light flashed. And Elias Carter was gone. The Hall of Stars fell into stunned silence once more. Some delegates turned away. Others watched without emotion. The Empire had killed a diplomat, a symbol of peace, and expected no consequences. They believed Earth would protest. They believed humans would cry. They believed wrong. 3 hours later, far across the galaxy, a secure message reached Earth. In a quiet room beneath the surface of the planet, human leaders watched the recording in silence. The execution, the laughter, the final words. No one spoke. No one shouted. No one cried. The room felt heavy, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. An elderly woman finally stood. She was not a soldier, not a politician. She was a historian. 3,000 years ago, she said, we swore never to become what we once were. We chose peace because war nearly destroyed us. She paused, her voice trembling. But today, they did not kill a man. She looked at the screen one last time. They killed our voice of peace. Still, no one interrupted her. A young officer clenched his fists. What are our orders? The answer came slowly. Cold. Final. Send the message to all fleets, the commander said. Wake everything we buried. Outside, Earth remained calm. Cities slept. Children dreamed. The galaxy had no idea what had just been set in motion. The Empire believed humanity was weak because humans were kind. They believed silence meant fear. Were about to learn the truth. Humanity had not forgotten how to wage war. They had simply hoped they would never need to remember. Earth did not respond. Immediately, that silence spread faster than any signal. Across the galaxy, news of the human diplomat's execution traveled through trade routes, military channels, and shadow networks. Some worlds were shocked. Some were amused. Most believed the same thing. Humans would complain. And then obeyed. Inside Earth's deepest command chamber, the lights were low. Screens covered the walls, showing stars, fleets, and old forgotten systems marked in red. The silence continued. Hours passed, then days. The Galactic Empire waited for angry messages. They waited for threats. They waited for emotional human speeches filled with grief and demands. Nothing came. The Imperial Chancellor frowned. Why are the humans quiet? He asked. An advisor replied, perhaps they are afraid. The Chancellor smiled. As expected. What the Empire did not know was that Earth was not silent out of fear. Earth was remembering. Deep beneath the oceans, ancient metal doors opened for the first time in centuries. Power surged through machines that had not been touched since history books called them mistakes. In hidden shipyards, carved into asteroids, massive structures awakened. Hulls darker than space itself came alive, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. Human engineers worked without speaking much. Orders were short, precise. Everyone already understood what was happening. This was not preparation. This was activation. A young technician looked at a screen showing a fleet designation he had only seen in classified legends. Sir, this fleet was never meant to be used. The commander did not look at him. It was meant for the day peace failed, he said, and that day has come. At the same time, a message finally reached the Galactic Empire. It was not a threat. It was not an insult. It was only one sentence. We acknowledge the death of our diplomat. Nothing more. The Imperial Council laughed. That is all? One noble scoffed. They acknowledge it? The Chancellor waved his hand dismissively. Then this matter is finished. Prepare the border fleets. We will remind them who controls the stars. Orders were given. Imperial war fleets began to move. Far from Earth, on a quiet human colony world, people went about their normal lives. Farmers worked the soil. Children ran through the streets. The sky was calm. Then every screen went dark. A single symbol appeared, the old human emblem. Long retired, a voice followed. Calm, clear, to all human worlds, the voice said. This is not a drill. People froze. We have lost a diplomat. A voice of peace. From this moment on, all colonies are under protection. Order Black Dawn. Parents pulled children close. Soldiers stood. Straight-or-got veterans who had never expected to serve again felt something heavy return to their chests. Voice continued. We did not choose this path, but we will finish it. The message ended, and across human space, something ancient woke up. In the outer regions of the galaxy, an Imperial scout fleet suddenly lost contact with command. No. Distress call. No explosion detected. They simply vanished. Imperial. Analysts blamed system failure. Then another fleet disappeared. Then another. Sensors showed empty space. No wreckage. No energy signatures. It was as if the stars themselves had swallowed them. Fear crept in slowly. An Imperial captain slammed his claw on the console. Find them. A technician whispered, Sir, our scanners are being ignored? Ignored? The captain snapped. Scanners cannot be ignored. The technician shook his head. They are there, I think. But our systems refuse to see them. The lights dimmed. A human voice filled the bridge. Imperial vessel, it said calmly. Power down your weapons. The captain spun around. Show yourself. A shape appeared outside the VIEWP, ORT. It was a human ship. Sleek, silent, wrong. Its surface bent light, making its edges hard to see. It did not glow like Imperial vessels. It did not announce itself. It simply existed. The human voice spoke again. This is a warning, it said. Return to your space. Do not cross again. The captain laughed nervously. You killed one of ours, and now you threaten us. There was a pause. Then the human voice replied. You killed one of ours, it said. This is mercy. The ship vanished moments later. The Imperial fleet lost power, not destroyed, not damaged. Simply drifting. Alive, ashamed. Back in the Imperial capital. Panic finally reached the council chamber. These are not the humans we studied. An advisor hissed. The Chancellor's confidence cracked for the first time. What are they doing? He demanded. Another advisor whispered the truth. They are not attacking. They are positioning. Across the galaxy, human fleets moved into key systems. Trade routes, military hubs, communication relays. Always silent. Always precise. No. Civilian casualties. No unnecessary destruction. It was not chaos. It was control. On Earth, the commander watched the map change. Phase 1 complete. An officer reported. The commander nodded. Double quotes good, he said quietly. Outside, the stars remained cold and distant. But now, the galaxy was paying attention, because humanity had finally answered. And this time, they were not speaking the language of peace. They were speaking the language the Empire understood best. The Galactic Empire refused to panic. Fear, after all, was for lesser races. Inside the Imperial War Council, massive holograms displayed human fleet movements. Silent shapes held key systems like invisible claws around the Empire's throat. Trade slowed. Communications flickered. All eyes asked questions the Empire did not like. Still, the Council laughed. They hide in shadows, one admiral sneered. That is not strength. That is fear. Another nodded. Humans have always been careful. Careful races do not win wars. The Imperial Chancellor rose slowly. His voice was firm, but something tight lived beneath it. We will end this illusion, he declared. Prepare Dominion Fleet 1. The room went quiet. Dominion Fleet 1 was legend, the Empire's strongest force. Thousands of warships, planet-breaker cannons, generations of conquered worlds behind it. To attack Earth? An advisor asked. No, the Chancellor replied. To crush their confidence. Orders were sent. The galaxy watched out on Earth. Human commanders observed the Imperial fleet's movement with calm eyes. They took the bait. An officer said. The commander nodded once. As expected. No cheers followed. No smiles. Only focus. Human ships adjusted positions slightly, like chess pieces moving into place. Entire squadrons vanished from known space, slipping into routes no alien map recorded. A young analyst swallowed hard. Sir, if this fails, it won't, the commander said softly. They still think we fight like them. Dominion Fleet 1 entered the Helier Rift, a critical system guarding multiple human colonies. Imperial crews stood confident on their bridges, weapons charged, shields glowing bright and proud. Scan for human ships. The Admiral ordered. Sensors showed nothing. The Admiral laughed. Running already? Then the stars went dark. Not black. Gone. Every reference point vanished at once. Navigation failed. Communications died. One by one, Imperial ships reported strange readings. "Sir, space is bending." "No," another officer whispered. "Space is being rewritten." A voice echoed across every channel. "Human, calm, clear. Imperial Dominion Fleet." It said, "You have entered restricted space." The admiral stood. "This is Imperial territory." "Incorrect," the voice replied. "This space is now under human protection." The stars returned, and the human fleet revealed itself. They were everywhere. Above, below, behind, thousands of ships, appearing without light or warning. Smaller than Imperial warships, but sharper, quieter, watching. The Imperial admiral's confidence cracked. "Fire!" he shouted. Imperial cannons roared. Nothing hit. Human ships moved before the shots arrived, sliding through space as if they knew the future. Then the humans responded. They did not fire beams. They did not launch missiles. They switched off the Empire. Every Imperial shield collapsed at once. Power cores shut down cleanly, without explosion. Engines died. Weapons went cold. Entire fleets drifted helplessly. The human voice returned. "This battle is over." The admiral shook with rage. "Finish us, then." There was a pause. "No," the voice said. "You will live." Human ships moved closer. Boarding vessels attached smoothly. Human soldiers entered Imperial ships, not screaming, not violent. Professional, silent. Imperial crews were disarmed, restrained, and treated for injuries. No executions. No cruelty. The admiral was escorted to a human command deck. He expected chains. He received a chair. A human officer stood before him. "You are a prisoner of war," she said. "You will be fed. You will be safe." The admiral stared at her. "Why?" She met his eyes. "Because we are not you." News of the defeat spread like wildfire. The galaxy stopped laughing. Dominion Fleet 1, undefeated for centuries, had been neutralized without a single human casualty. Worse, it still existed. Alive. Captured. Imperial allies began to withdraw quietly. Trade guilds froze contracts. Neutral worlds closed their borders. Fear replaced arrogance. Inside the Imperial Palace, the Chancellor smashed a data slab in fury. "This is impossible," he roared. "Humans cannot do this." An ancient advisor spoke carefully. "Perhaps we never understood them." The Chancellor turned slowly. "Explain." The advisor hesitated. "They did not build weapons to conquer. They built weapons to end wars quickly." Silence filled the chamber. "They are not fighting for territory," the advisor continued. "They are fighting for meaning." On Earth, a new message was prepared, not broadcast, not threatening. It was sent directly to the cab. "Imperial Chancellor, one sentence. You killed our diplomat. We are still holding back." The Chancellor read it twice. Then his hands began to shake. Because for the first time in his long reign, he understood the truth. Humanity had not shown its full strength. Not yet. And the galaxy had just crossed the point of no return. The Imperial Chancellor made his decision in anger. Fear whispered caution. Reason begged for restraint. But pride crushed them both. "Enough," the Chancellor snarled. "If humans wish to play at war, then we will remind them how empires are built." The order went out across Imperial space. Total escalation approved. For the first time in centuries, the Empire removed its limits. Planetary bombardment protocols were unlocked. Civilian zones were reclassified as acceptable losses. Ancient weapons, sealed away for being too destructive, were prepared once more. The Empire chose terror. And in doing so, it crossed a line humanity had drawn long ago. The first Imperial strike came without warning. A human trade world, small, peaceful, barely defended, felt the sky burn. Imperial warships emerged from hyperspace, their cannons lighting the atmosphere like artificial suns. Cities screamed, defenses activated. Too late. Just as the first bombardment beam began to fire, something impossible happened. The beam bent. It twisted away from the planet, pulled aside by an unseen force. Imperial targeting systems went wild, showing errors that could not exist. A calm human voice cut through the chaos. "Imperial fleet," it said. "You are attacking a protected world." The Imperial commander shouted, "Fire again!" They never got the chance. Space folded. Human ships appeared between the fleet and the planet. Not thousands this time. Only 3. They were larger than anything the Empire had ever seen. Their hulls were scarred, old, and heavy, as if they had already survived the end of civilizations. The human voice spoke again. "This is your final warning." The Imperial commander laughed, shaking with rage. 3 ships? You insult us." The largest human vessel answered. A single pulse rippled outward. Not light, not sound. Authority. Imperial ships lost formation instantly. Their weapons systems tore themselves apart. Command vessels fell silent as if space itself had rejected them. One by one, Imperial warships vanished, not exploding, not drifting. Erased. Clean. Precise. The remaining ships fled in panic. The human vessels did not chase them. They turned back, toward the planet, and vanished. The trade world survived. The Empire did not understand how. But the galaxy noticed. Inside Imperial territory, alarms spread from system to system. Human fleets began to move openly now, not hiding, not silent. This was different. This was a statement. Human ships targeted military-only assets, shipyards, command centers, weapon factories. Never cities, never civilians. The pattern was unmistakable. The Empire's claws were being cut off one by one. An Imperial general watched a key shipyard fall offline and whispered, "They are dismantling us." "Yes," another replied softly, surgically. On Earth, the commander finally spoke the words many feared and many welcomed. Authorized first strike doctrine. No cheers followed, only quiet acceptance. A junior officer swallowed. "Sir, once we do this, there is no turning back." The commander nodded. "I know." He looked at the image of Elias Carter displayed on the wall. Gave them every chance. Deep in Imperial space, a classified facility detected something it was never meant to detect. Human signatures. Inside, scientists panicked. "They found us." "That's impossible." A human fleet emerged above the facility. Slow, deliberate, unstoppable. A transmission was sent. "You are in violation of interstellar law," the human voice said. "This facility produces weapons banned by every civilized species." An Imperial officer screamed back, "You have no authority here." The reply was cold. "We are the consequence." The facility disappeared. In a silent flash. No shockwave. No debris. Just absence. The Galactic Empire was no longer fighting a war. It was losing control of reality. All eyes abandoned it openly now. Neutral worlds offered humans safe passage. Black market traders whispered new names with fear and respect. The quiet ones, the kind killers, the ones who warned first. Inside the Imperial Palace, the Chancellor stared at the star map as it shrank. "They are destroying everything we built," he whispered. An advisor shook his head. "No, they are destroying everything you used to hurt others." The Chancellor slammed his fist down. "Then we end this now." He turned slowly. "Prepare the final weapon." The room went silent. One advisor whispered, "My Emperor." That weapon was banned even before the Empire rose. The Chancellor's eyes burned. So was mercy. he said. Far away. Human sensors detected the activation instantly. Every screen on Earth flashed red. The commander closed his eyes. They chose extinction, he said softly. Outside, the stars trembled because the Empire had made its final mistake. The alarms on Earth did not scream. They rang once. Soft, respectful. Every human in the command chamber knew what that meant. Something ancient had awakened. A tactical officer swallowed hard. Sir, the Empire has activated a forbidden signature. The commander stared at the screen. The readings were wrong. Not broken, wrong by design. That weapon was erased from galactic records, the officer continued. It bends gravity, time, and mass. One strike could erase a planet. The commander finished calmly. Silence followed. Then he gave the order no one wanted to hear. Begin protocol last light. Deep inside the Imperial core, the final weapon charged. It was not a ship. It was a concept. A massive structure wrapped around a dying star, feeding on its collapse. The Empire had stolen it from a species, erased long before humans reached the stars. The Emperor stood alone before it. This ends today, he whispered. If Earth vanished, human fleets would scatter. Fear would return. The galaxy would bow once more. The Emperor smiled. He pressed the command. Across the galaxy, sensitive species felt it. Gravity shifted. Stars dimmed. Time itself seemed to hesitate. On human colonies, children stopped playing and looked up at the sky without knowing why. On Earth, the commander watched the projected path. Estimated impact? Someone asked. 6 hours, came the reply. No one panicked. That frightened the Imperial spies listening in. Human fleets moved, not toward Earth, toward the weapon. A young officer blinked. Sir, if we intercept it there. We won't, the commander said. We're not stopping it. The room went still. We're catching it. Imperial sensors detected human movement and laughed. They are too late, the Emperor said. Even if they destroy the weapon, the release will still. An officer interrupted. My Emperor, humans are not firing. The Emperor frowned. Explain. They are. Surrounding the star. That was impossible. No fleet could survive that close, unless it was never meant to fight stars. As the weapon reached full charge, human ships locked into formation around the collapsing star. Their hulls glowed faintly, ancient symbols burning across their surfaces. A human transmission broadcast across all channels. Galactic Empire, the voice said. Calm and clear. This weapon violates every law you helped create. The Emperor snarled. Fire. The weapon released. Reality screamed. The destructive wave surged forward and slowed. Then stopped. Human ships absorbed it. Not through shields. Through understanding. The star stabilized. The weapon collapsed inward. Imperial. Scientists stared in horror. They didn't block. It, one whispered. They rewrote the outcome. The Emperor fell back into his throne. No, he breathed. The human voice returned. We told you we were holding back. A second transmission followed, not to the Empire, but to the galaxy. We will not erase worlds, the message said. We will erase threats. The human fleet moved. The weapon was taken apart piece by piece, its energy safely drained and neutralized. No explosion. No shockwave. Just quiet. Imperial fleets broke. Some surrendered immediately. Others fled into deep space. A few fired blindly and were disabled without ceremony. The Empire's power structure collapsed in hours. On one captured Imperial bridge, an officer whispered to a human guard, Why spare us? The guard replied simply, Because we still want to sleep at night. Back on Earth, the commander exhaled for the first time in days. Send the final warning. He said. The message went out. Short, Unmistakable. Double quotes. The next move is yours. Choose wisely. Across the galaxy, leaders listened. Because the weapon that should not exist had failed, and the species that refused to use it now decided the future. Far away, alone in his palace, the Emperor stared at the stars he no longer controlled. He understood the truth too late. Humanity did not win by being stronger. They won by being better. Galactic Empire was breaking. Systems went dark without warning. Supply lines collapsed. Fleets once loyal now refused orders or surrendered the moment human ships appeared. Across the stars, the word empire began to sound like a memory. Yet the Emperor did not surrender, not because he believed he could still win, but because he could not accept losing to humans. Inside the Imperial Core Palace, surrounded by empty halls and silent guards, the Emperor stood before a hidden chamber sealed by ancient codes. His claws trembled as he placed them on the console. "This ends with me," he whispered. The door opened. Inside lay the Crown Protocol. It was older than the Empire itself. A final command buried deep in Imperial history. Created during an age when rulers preferred extinction over defeat. If activated, it would not target fleets. It would target stars. A chain reaction, slow but unstoppable, would collapse key suns across human space. Billions would die long after the war ended. The Empire would fall, but humanity would bleed forever. An advisor followed him into the chamber, horror in his eyes. "My Emperor, even our ancestors sealed this away." The Emperor turned, his voice cold and empty, and our ancestors lacked resolve. He began the activation. Across the galaxy, human sensors screamed. Multiple stars showed impossible instability. Not immediate explosions, something worse. Delayed death. On Earth, the command chamber erupted into motion. "Sir, this isn't an attack," an officer said urgently. "It's a curse." The commander stared at the projections. Entire human systems marked with slow, spreading red. "How long?" he asked. "Years, decades. Enough time for them to think they won." The commander closed his eyes. They chose revenge over survival. Human fleets surged toward the Imperial core. Not carefully, not quietly. This time, the galaxy felt them. Human ships burned bright as they tore through hyperspace, ignoring stealth, ignoring fear. Imperial defenses activated in panic. It did not matter. They were brushed aside. Human vessels did not fire until they reached the core itself. Then they struck. Imperial orbital platforms vanished in controlled bursts. Defense fleets were disabled in seconds. The core lay exposed. A human transmission echoed through Imperial space. "This war ends now." Inside the palace, alarms howled. "My Emperor!" an officer shouted. "Human fleets have breached the core perimeter." The Emperor did not turn. "Good," he said. "They will witness the cost of defying." U.S. The Crown Protocol reached final sequence. Only one thing could stop it. A living command. The Emperor's life. Human intelligence detected it. Instantly. In the command chamber on Earth, the room went silent. "To stop the cascade," the analyst said carefully, "the Emperor must be alive." Someone whispered, "Then we capture him." The commander shook his head. "No," he said. "He won't allow it." A new option appeared on the screen. Unthinkable. "Sir," an officer said, voice tight, "if we do this, there is no justice, no trial." The commander stared at the stars marked for death. "There is only choice," he said. And he already made his. A single human ship broke formation and entered the palace hangar. No escort. No announcement. The Emperor felt it. He smiled. "So," he said to the empty hall, They send an assassin. Footsteps echoed. A human entered the chamber. No armor, no weapon visible. Emperor, the human said calmly, stand down. End the protocol. The Emperor laughed softly. You ask for mercy after everything? The human's eyes were tired. We ask for life. The Emperor's smile faded. You are too late. The human stepped closer. So are you. In one smooth motion, the human placed a device on the console. The crown. Protocol froze. The Emperor's eyes widened. That's impossible. Your system requires a ruler, the human said. So does ours. The device activated. The Emperor collapsed. Alive. But powerless. Across the galaxy. The dying stars stabilized. Human systems returned to normal. The curse was broken. The Emperor was taken into custody. Not executed. Not harmed. A prisoner. As he was led away, he looked at the human and whispered, You could have killed me. The human replied, We could have done many things. Outside, the war finally ended, but the galaxy held its breath because mercy had won, and mercy is never free. The war did not end with celebration. It ended with silence. Across the galaxy, ships stopped moving. Weapons powered down. Emergency alarms faded into background static. For the first time in generations, the stars felt. Still, the Galactic Emperor sat in a containment field aboard a human vessel. No chains on his body, only defeat in his eyes. He expected rage, revenge, execution. Instead, he was brought before a chamber, unlike any he had known. There were no thrones. No symbols of dominance. Only a circular hall filled with representatives from dozens of species. And humans, standing, not above, not below. Equal. The Galactic Assembly had been reborn. Worlds once crushed by the Empire now spoke freely. Species once silenced finally raised their voices. And at the center stood humanity, not as rulers, but as witnesses. A historian stepped forward. A human. Her voice carried calmly through the chamber. This war began with the death of one diplomat, she said. A man who came without weapons, without threats, with peace. The image of Elias Carter appeared above the floor. His final moments. His last words. The chamber grew heavy. We warned, she continued. We waited. We held back. Again and again. She turned toward the Emperor. You mistook kindness for weakness. The Emperor lowered his head. One by one, worlds spoke. A mining species whose planet had been stripped bare. A water world poisoned by imperial industry. A race enslaved for centuries. They did not call for blood. They called for an end. Finally, the assembly turned to humanity. What do you demand? An alien elder asked. The question shook the galaxy. Human fleets could rule everything now. No force could stop them. The answer came after a long pause. A human commander stepped forward, the same one who had ordered the fleets to wake. We demand only this, he said. No. Empire may rule the galaxy again. Murmurs spread. No diplomat shall ever be harmed again. Silence followed. And no species, he finished, will ever mistake our restraint for surrender. The judgment was announced. The Galactic Empire was dissolved, its territories placed under independent governance. Its fleets dismantled, its emperor stripped of power and sentenced not to death, but to life. To live. Too. Remember, the galaxy watched in disbelief. An alien delegate whispered, Why spare him? The commander answered quietly, Because death is easy. In the weeks that followed, human fleets withdrew. They did not stay to occupy. They did not demand tribute. They returned home. It frightened the galaxy more than conquest ever could. because it proved one thing beyond doubt. Humanity did not want control. Humanity wanted choice. On Earth. A quiet ceremony was held. No broadcast. No speeches. Single stone was placed in a garden. Elias Carter, voice of peace. Children played nearby, unaware of how close their future had come to ending. A young cadet looked at the stars and asked an old veteran, "Will there be another war?" The veteran considered the question. "Maybe," he said honestly, "but not like this one." "Why?" "Because now they know," the veteran replied. "Know what?" "That humans are kind," he said softly, "and that kindness has limits. Far away, on a distant neutral world." An alien scholar recorded a final entry into the galactic archives. Let it be remembered. Humanity did not conquer the galaxy. Humanity frightened it into peace. They are gentle by choice, terrible by necessity. And when the stars demanded monsters, humanity refused until it had no other option. The archive closed. The stars kept turning, and the galaxy would never forget the day it learned the truth. Never kill human diplomat. Never underestimate human mercy, and never mistake silence for fear.